The restaurant was quiet that evening, with just a few tables filled with regular diners. Soft music played in the background, and the gentle clinking of glasses and cutlery added a calm rhythm to the space. The lights were warm and inviting, making the place feel like a cozy haven away from the busy city streets outside. Among the staff, one waitress moved with steady hands and a soft smile, taking orders and serving food with care. She was a single mother, and every movement she made carried the weight of someone who had learned to be both patient and strong. Her son, a small boy with bright eyes and an endless curiosity, trailed behind her quietly, sometimes peeking around corners or stopping to watch the other guests. The boy had always been drawn to music, though his mother hadn't had much time or money to nurture that interest. Despite that, he found joy in small moments, tapping on tablet screens or making rhythms with his small hands. Tonight, however, something different caught his attention. At the corner of the restaurant, a grand piano gleamed under a soft spotlight. Its polished surface reflected the lights, and its keys seemed to call out to him. The boy froze for a moment, staring in awe. He had seen pianos before, but this one seemed magical, larger than life, like it held a world he wanted to step into. His mother noticed him staring and felt a mix of emotions. She had seen this curiosity before, but she also knew the piano keys were too high for him. She knelt down, brushing a strand of hair from his forehead, and whispered, "Do you want to try?" He nodded eagerly, eyes wide with excitement. She looked around quickly to make sure no one was watching too closely, then lifted him gently, holding him just high enough for his small fingers to touch the keys. The boy's hands trembled slightly as he pressed a key, and a soft, imperfect note floated into the air. His face lit up with joy, and he pressed a few more, experimenting, making tiny melodies that only he could imagine. Across the room, a man sat quietly at a table, finishing his meal. He was a regular, a billionaire who often dined alone, observing the world with a calm and quiet curiosity. He noticed the scene unfolding at the corner of the restaurant and felt a flicker of interest. The way the mother lifted her son, the way she encouraged him without pressure, and the way the boy's face glowed with excitement drew his attention immediately. He didn't interfere or make a scene. Instead, he watched quietly, intrigued by what seemed like a simple yet beautiful moment between a mother and her child. The boy, encouraged by his mother's gentle words, pressed more keys. The sounds weren't perfect, but there was rhythm, a natural flow that seemed to emerge from him without conscious effort. His fingers moved hesitantly at first, then with more confidence, almost as if he were discovering something inside himself that he hadn't known existed. His mother held him securely, her eyes shining with pride and a little disbelief. She had always known he loved music, but this small, private moment made her realize that there was something truly special in his touch, something beyond casual curiosity. The billionaire's interest deepened as he observed the boy. He had seen talented children before, but there was something about the way this young boy approached the piano that suggested raw potential, untouched and pure. He noted the mother's patience, her encouragement, and the way she seemed to understand the importance of letting the child explore without pressure. He didn't speak, didn't move closer, but he allowed himself to imagine the possibilities that could unfold if this talent were nurtured. The scene reminded him of his own childhood, of moments when small acts of encouragement had made a lasting difference. As the boy continued to press the keys, a small melody began to form. It wasn't complex, but it had a rhythm and charm that caught the attention of other diners. Some glanced over curiously, smiling at the sight of the child experimenting with the piano. The mother, noticing the attention, felt a mix of embarrassment and pride. She hadn't intended for anyone to watch, but the boy's joy was infectious. It spread quietly through the room, softening conversations and bringing a warm sense of connection among the diners. The sounds of the piano mingled with the ambient noises, creating a unique harmony that made the restaurant feel alive in a gentle, human way. The boy's confidence grew with each note. He started pressing keys and patterns, discovering combinations that sounded pleasant even to untrained ears. He looked up at his mother, seeking approval and reassurance, and she responded with a soft smile, whispering encouragement. The simple act of lifting him, of giving him the chance to reach the piano, had unlocked something profound. In that moment, the mother forgot about the stress of her day, the long hours of work, and the challenges of raising a child alone. She was simply a parent witnessing a spark of joy in her child's eyes. a moment that seemed larger than life in its simplicity. The billionaire remained quiet, observing every detail. He saw the boy's hands moving more confidently, the small smile spreading across his face as he discovered the sounds he could create. He noticed how the mother balanced encouragement with restraint, allowing the child to lead the moment. There was a natural flow, a connection between them that spoke of love, trust, and understanding. The billionaire felt a rare sense of admiration, not just for the boy's emerging talent, but for the mother's quiet strength and care. Time seemed to slow as the boy continued to explore the piano. He experimented with different keys, creating a small, spontaneous melody that seemed to fill the restaurant with warmth. Diners watched quietly, some whispering to each other about the boy's natural rhythm, others simply enjoying the sight of pure joy and curiosity in action. The mother held him gently, adjusting her grip as needed, ensuring he was comfortable and safe. Her heart swelled with pride, mixed with a touch of awe at the talent she was witnessing firsthand. The scene was simple yet profound. A mother and child sharing a quiet moment, a billionaire observing quietly, and the subtle magic of music bridging the gaps between people in the room. The boy's small fingers continued to dance across the keys, creating sounds that were imperfect but beautiful in their sincerity. His laughter, soft and pure, blended with the gentle notes, creating an atmosphere that was both intimate and inspiring. As the evening progressed, the boy became more confident, his hands moving with increasing ease. He explored the piano without hesitation, discovering patterns and rhythms that seemed natural to him. The mother encouraged him softly, speaking words of praise and comfort. She had no idea that a quiet observer had already taken note of this moment, recognizing the potential in both her son and her nurturing presence. The billionaire finished his meal but did not leave immediately. He continued to watch quietly, captivated by the unfolding scene. He recognized that this moment was rare, a glimpse of talent and care intertwined in a way that was both genuine and moving. He made a mental note to remember every detail, the boy's curiosity, the mother's patience, and the small but profound melody emerging from the piano. In that simple, unassuming restaurant, a quiet evening became the setting for something extraordinary. The mother, focused on her child, and the boy, immersed in discovery, created a moment that touched everyone present. The billionaire, observing discreetly, understood that he was witnessing more than just a child experimenting with a piano. He was seeing the first sparks of something that could grow into something remarkable, a potential waiting to be nurtured and guided. The boy finally looked up at his mother, eyes shining, seeking her reaction. She smiled, a mixture of pride, amazement, and tenderness in her expression. She whispered softly, "You did so well," lifting him slightly higher so he could press one last key. The note rang out soft and clear, filling the restaurant with a gentle resonance that seemed to linger in the air. The diners around them smiled, some whispering quietly, others simply enjoying the fleeting magic of the moment. For the mother, this evening became a memory she would cherish forever. It was a small private triumph in the midst of everyday challenges, a reminder that joy could be found in the simplest of acts. The boy, unaware of the significance of the moment beyond his own excitement, continued to explore the piano with curiosity and delight. The billionaire, sitting quietly at his table, felt a rare sense of anticipation, knowing that he had stumbled upon something unique and special, a story just beginning to unfold in a quiet corner of the city. The night continued quietly, but the energy at the corner of the restaurant had shifted slightly. The boy, now more confident with the piano keys, continued to experiment, pressing combinations of notes that seemed almost intentional. Each small melody was different, sometimes soft, sometimes playful, and the subtle charm of his music captured the attention of more diners. They watched with gentle curiosity, smiling and nodding to each other, appreciating the spontaneous moment without wanting to interrupt it. It was rare to see a child so fully immersed in something that clearly brought him joy, and even rarer to see a parent who understood and nurtured that curiosity with such care. The billionaire, still seated at his table, observed quietly, his interest growing with each note. He had seen countless displays of talent in his life, but there was something unique about the way this boy approached the piano. It wasn't just the music. It was the rhythm, the curiosity, the joy, and the connection between mother and child. The boy's fingers moved with surprising coordination, almost instinctively finding patterns that sounded harmonious. The billionaire's mind began to imagine what could be done if this talent were guided, supported, and refined. He could see the boy becoming a musician who could captivate people, someone who could touch hearts with the same natural charm he displayed now. As he watched, he also noticed small details that made the moment even more compelling. The mother's hands never left her son's sides, ready to support him if he slipped or stumbled. She spoke softly, offering encouragement without pushing, letting the boy lead the interaction. Every time he discovered a new combination of notes that sounded pleasant, her eyes lit up, and she whispered words of praise. The billionaire admired this quiet balance of guidance and freedom. It was clear she wasn't trying to control him or make him perform. She was simply allowing him to explore while keeping him safe. Other diners had started to glance over more frequently, curious about the sounds that now carried a hint of melody. Some whispered quietly to each other, noting how unusual it was to see a child so young playing a piano with such interest. A few took out their phones to capture the moment, careful not to disturb the boy or his mother. The atmosphere in the restaurant had shifted from a quiet evening to a gentle anticipation, a sense that something special was happening quietly in one corner. The soft lighting highlighted the mother and child, creating a small stage where the boy's curiosity and talent could shine. The boy began experimenting with small sequences of notes, each one more confident than the last. He leaned slightly, adjusting his position, his tiny fingers dancing over the keys with growing assurance. The sounds he created were still simple, but they had rhythm and charm, a natural flow that suggested an understanding of music beyond casual play. The billionaire noticed subtle things, the way the boy's fingers curved, the timing of each note, the little pauses that gave the music a sense of expression. It was not polished, but it had heart and potential. The mother's expression was a mix of pride and gentle awe. She had always known her son loved music, but this moment revealed something deeper, something she had not fully recognized before. She leaned slightly closer to him, whispering, "See, you can make beautiful sounds." Her voice was warm, tender, and supportive. The boy looked at her, smiling shyly, then returned to the keys, pressing them with more confidence. The billionaire observed this exchange and realized that the mother's encouragement was as important as the talent itself. Without her understanding and support, this moment might never have existed. Across the restaurant, the subtle energy of the scene continued to grow. Diners who were initially indifferent began to notice the delicate emerging melody. The quiet clinking of glasses and soft conversation faded into the background as the boy's music became the focus of attention, even if only subconsciously. Some of the staff paused briefly, watching the interaction with quiet fascination. It was remarkable how a simple, unplanned moment could capture so much attention and admiration without anyone intending it. The boy's confidence continued to grow. He discovered combinations of notes that felt natural and pleasing, and a small melody began to emerge. He hummed softly as he played, lost in the joy of creating music. His mother's hands rested gently on his shoulders, ready to lift or guide him if needed, but she mostly allowed him to take the lead. She watched with quiet pride, her heart swelling with a mix of amazement and love. She had worked hard to provide for him, and in this moment, she saw a glimpse of the future she had always hoped for, even if it was just a tiny spark. The billionaire, still seated, leaned slightly forward, eyes fixed on the boy's hands. He recognized potential when he saw it, and he saw more than just a child playing a piano. He saw someone who could grow into a remarkable musician, someone whose music could move people. He also saw the mother's devotion, the careful balance of guidance and freedom, and he understood that this was a rare moment of pure authenticity. The connection between mother and child was tangible, and it added depth to the music, making it more than just sound. As the boy continued, the melody became slightly more complex, each note chosen instinctively, each pause meaningful. It was clear he was experimenting, learning through play, and the billionaire could see the raw potential waiting to be nurtured. He thought about what could be done, lessons, mentorship, opportunities that could help the boy grow into a true musician. The thought filled him with quiet excitement. He had often encountered talent in his life, but rarely with such an unfiltered expression of curiosity and joy. The mother noticed a few diners glancing their way more often, their interest apparent. She felt a slight flush of embarrassment, but it quickly gave way to pride. She had no idea that a billionaire was observing them closely, noting every detail. To her, it was a simple moment of joy, a small escape from the daily grind, an opportunity to share something she loved with her son. But to the billionaire, it was a revelation. He was witnessing a moment that could change the trajectory of a young life, a combination of talent, opportunity, and nurturing that was rare to see. The boy's hands moved with increasing confidence. He pressed keys in a rhythm that was natural, exploring combinations and creating sequences that sounded surprisingly pleasant. He hummed softly, lost in the music, unaware of the attention he was drawing. The mother continued to offer gentle encouragement, her voice calm and soothing, reinforcing his confidence. The billionaire felt a sense of quiet anticipation, recognizing that this was the beginning of something significant, even if the boy and his mother had no idea. Time seemed to slow in that corner of the restaurant. The boy's music became a soft, charming melody that wove its way through the room, touching everyone in subtle ways. Diners whispered to each other. Staff paused briefly, and the general atmosphere shifted to one of quiet wonder. The mother held her son gently, adjusting her hold as needed, and he continued to explore, experimenting, learning, and enjoying the moment. The scene was simple yet profound, a small window into a world of potential and love. The billionaire remained seated, observing quietly. He noticed the boy's focus, the mother's support, and the quiet joy that radiated from both of them. He thought about what could happen if this moment were nurtured, guided, and given the right opportunities. The boy's talent was raw and unrefined, but it was real and full of promise. The mother's patience and encouragement were equally important, providing the foundation for growth and confidence. It was a rare combination, one that could lead to something remarkable if given the chance. The boy paused for a moment, looking up at his mother, eyes shining with excitement and curiosity. She smiled back, whispering, "You're doing so well." He pressed one last key gently, and the note rang out, soft and clear, filling the restaurant with a delicate resonance. The diners around them smiled, some whispering quietly to each other, others simply enjoying the fleeting beauty of the moment. The mother held him close, feeling a mix of pride, love, and quiet amazement. In that quiet evening, surrounded by warm lights and soft conversation, a mother and her son shared a simple, magical moment. The boy's curiosity and natural talent, combined with the mother's gentle guidance, created a scene that touched everyone present. The billionaire observed discreetly, understanding the potential of what he had witnessed. A talent waiting to be nurtured and a story just beginning to unfold in a quiet corner of the city. The soft melody continued to fill the quiet restaurant, and the boy's fingers moved with increasing confidence over the piano keys. Each note seemed to reveal a tiny fragment of his personality, playful, curious, and eager to explore. The mother watched him closely, her heart swelling with pride. Feeling as if she had stumbled upon a small miracle in the midst of her everyday life. She had always encouraged him to explore his interests, but she never imagined such a pure display of talent could emerge so naturally. She adjusted her hold slightly, ensuring he was steady, her hands gentle yet firm, offering a sense of security that allowed him to play without hesitation. The billionaire, seated quietly at a nearby table, leaned forward subtly, his curiosity growing by the second. He had spent his life observing talent, wealth, and influence, but this was different. This was raw, untouched potential, a spark of something extraordinary. He noticed the rhythm in the boy's play, the natural flow of notes that didn't seem taught or guided but innate. He saw the concentration in the child's eyes, the small movements of his hands as if each key pressed was a choice, a discovery. The mother's supportive presence only amplified the beauty of the scene. He realized that her encouragement, patience, and warmth were just as important as the boy's innate ability. Without her, the spark might never have had a chance to shine. After a moment, the billionaire made a decision. He wanted to interact, but carefully, so as not to overwhelm or startle the mother and child. He called over one of the restaurant staff discreetly, speaking in low tones. He asked the staff to observe politely and ensure the boy remained comfortable and safe, allowing the moment to continue without interruption. His intention wasn't to draw attention or force a performance, but to create an environment where this talent could be recognized and, if possible, nurtured. The staff member nodded, understanding the subtlety of the situation, and continued their duties while keeping a watchful eye on the boy. Meanwhile, the boy's exploration of the piano became more adventurous. He experimented with higher and lower notes, creating soft patterns that gradually became longer, almost resembling a simple melody. He hummed to himself as he played, unaware that he was being observed so closely. His mother whispered encouragement occasionally, her voice warm and calm, guiding him without imposing, letting him discover the music for himself. The billionaire observed each detail, noting the balance between natural talent and parental support. He felt a sense of admiration and inspiration, recognizing that this moment was not just about music, but about connection, love, and encouragement. As the melody grew, the attention of the other diners subtly shifted. Some glanced over more frequently, curious about the sounds that now carried a sense of rhythm and intention. The atmosphere in the restaurant, previously quiet and subdued, became infused with anticipation and warmth. The boy's small performance, though unplanned, had the power to draw people in without effort. The mother noticed the occasional glances but didn't mind. She was absorbed in the moment, enjoying her son's joy and discovery. The billionaire, quietly observing, began to consider what could happen if the boy's talent were nurtured. He thought about the opportunities, the lessons, and the mentorship that could help the child grow into a remarkable musician. He considered how rare it was to find someone with such raw, unpolished talent combined with a natural curiosity and love for learning. He wanted to offer help, but he knew it had to be done delicately, respecting both the mother's protective instincts and the child's innocence. He understood that a single moment of encouragement could change the course of a life, and he felt a strong desire to create that opportunity. The boy, sensing the focus of the room, didn't stop but continued to play, his hands moving with increasing confidence. Each note was pressed with intent, each combination explored with curiosity. The melody was still simple, but it carried emotion and charm that drew the attention of everyone present. Diners whispered quietly to each other, commenting on the child's skill and the beauty of the moment. The mother, noticing their reactions, felt a mixture of pride and humility. She had never sought recognition, only a chance for her child to experience joy and exploration. Yet, in this quiet corner of the restaurant, something extraordinary was unfolding. The billionaire finally decided it was time to approach, but he moved with caution. He didn't want to disrupt the natural flow or make the mother uncomfortable. He waited until the boy paused for a brief moment, catching his breath, and then he walked over slowly with a calm and friendly demeanor. The mother, noticing him approaching, straightened and gave a polite smile, slightly wary but not alarmed. She sensed no threat in his presence, only curiosity and a quiet admiration. The billionaire smiled warmly, making eye contact and speaking gently. "Your son has a wonderful gift," he said softly, careful not to startle her. "I hope you don't mind me saying so. I've seen many children, but there's something very special in the way he plays. It's natural, full of joy, and it has a unique rhythm. You should be proud." The mother blushed slightly, a mix of embarrassment and pride flooding her emotions. She had never thought of her son's playful exploration as talent, at least not in this formal sense. She replied softly, "Thank you. He loves music, but I never expected anyone to notice. He's just having fun." The billionaire nodded, understanding completely. "I can see that. And that's exactly what makes it beautiful. Sometimes the most genuine talent comes from joy and curiosity, not from pressure or expectation." The mother smiled, feeling a strange mixture of relief and curiosity. She was aware of the billionaire's status but sensed that his words were genuine and kind, not self-serving or intrusive. Her focus remained on her son, who watched the interaction with wide, curious eyes. He sensed the new presence but was not intimidated, returning to the piano keys with renewed confidence. The billionaire, noticing this, realized that any further encouragement or opportunity would need to respect the boy's natural flow and the mother's protective instincts. The billionaire continued, speaking with warmth and care. "If you ever think your son might like some guidance, lessons, or opportunities to explore his talent further, I would love to help. Not as a performance or for show, but simply to nurture something extraordinary. I've seen enough talent to recognize when it's worth encouraging, and this is one of those moments." The mother paused, considering his words. She had struggled to provide for her son, worried about his future and the challenges of raising him alone. The idea of someone offering support for her child's growth was both unexpected and overwhelming. She hesitated, unsure how to respond, but there was a quiet sincerity in the billionaire's tone, a gentle reassurance that made her consider the possibility. Thank you, she said finally, still cautious but touched. It's not something I've thought about seriously, but I appreciate your offer. The boy, sensing the serious tone of the conversation, glanced between his mother and the billionaire. He pressed a few keys softly, almost as if seeking permission to continue exploring. The mother nodded gently, encouraging him to keep playing, and he resumed with small, deliberate notes. The billionaire watched, recognizing the importance of allowing the child to remain in control of his own moment. He knew that true encouragement came from freedom, not pressure. As the boy played, the melody began to take shape more clearly. He experimented with sequences of notes, occasionally pausing to listen to the sounds he created. His concentration was remarkable for his age, and his joy was evident in the small smiles and hums that escaped him. The mother's voice occasionally offered gentle praise, reinforcing his confidence without dictating his actions. The billionaire observed quietly, internalizing every detail. He could imagine the future possibilities, the growth, and the path that could unfold if this raw talent were supported in the right way. Other diners continued to watch, their attention captured by the innocence and beauty of the moment. Conversation slowed, and even the staff moved more quietly around the room, conscious of the unfolding scene. It was not a performance, yet it had the power to mesmerize and inspire. The combination of talent, parental support, and genuine curiosity created a rare atmosphere that felt almost magical, a reminder of the simple joys and discoveries that life can offer. The billionaire finally stepped back slightly, giving the mother and son space while remaining nearby. He wanted them to feel comfortable and not pressured. His quiet presence, he hoped, would provide reassurance without intrusion. The mother noticed his retreat and relaxed slightly, focusing again on her son. The boy continued to explore the piano, pressing keys with growing confidence and experimenting with sounds in a playful yet deliberate manner. His natural rhythm and joy filled the room, creating a warm human connection that resonated with everyone present. As the evening progressed, the boy's melody became more cohesive, more intentional. He pressed keys in sequences that sounded pleasant, demonstrating an innate understanding of rhythm and harmony. The mother's hands rested gently on his shoulders, her support steady and unwavering. She whispered encouragement and praise, reinforcing his confidence and allowing him to take the lead in his exploration. The billionaire observed with admiration, recognizing that this delicate balance of freedom and guidance was the foundation of true growth. In that quiet, unassuming restaurant, a mother and her son shared a simple yet profound moment. The boy's curiosity, combined with his natural talent, created a melody that touched everyone present. The mother's patience and support amplified the beauty of the moment, and the billionaire's quiet admiration underscored the potential for something truly extraordinary to emerge. It was a moment that captured the essence of human connection, discovery, and the power of encouragement, leaving a lasting impression on all who witnessed it. By the end of the evening, the boy's confidence had grown significantly. He pressed the final notes of his melody with a sense of completion, looking up at his mother with shining eyes. She smiled warmly, whispering words of pride and love. The billionaire, observing quietly, felt a sense of quiet satisfaction. Knowing that he had witnessed something rare and valuable, he understood that this was only the beginning. A small but meaningful step in a story that had the potential to grow into something extraordinary. The night had revealed not just talent, but the beauty of connection, support, and the power of nurturing curiosity. The restaurant had grown quieter as the evening wore on. The boy at the piano was no longer hesitant. He had found a rhythm, a comfort in the keys that seemed almost natural. His small fingers moved more confidently, pressing sequences that produced a surprisingly melodic sound. The mother's hands rested lightly on his shoulders, her touch gentle but assuring, a silent signal that she was there to support him, but not to guide him. She had noticed the change in his demeanor, the way he leaned slightly forward, eyes fixed on the keys, completely absorbed in his own world. Her heart swelled with pride, tempered by a deep sense of wonder. She had always known he had curiosity, but she had never seen it manifest so beautifully. The billionaire remained seated nearby, observing discreetly, Fully aware of the transformative moment unfolding before him, he could sense the child's natural ability, the quiet elegance of each note pressed with deliberate curiosity, yet still free and playful. The sequence of keys the boy chose seemed instinctive, almost as if he had a hidden understanding of harmony and rhythm that transcended his age. The billionaire was no stranger to talent. He had encountered prodigies in various fields before, yet this felt different. This was not learned skill, it was innate, raw, and genuine. He felt a rare sense of anticipation, the kind that came from witnessing the beginning of something remarkable. The boy pressed on, discovering small patterns that intertwined into a soft melody. Diners had begun to notice more fully now. Their conversations had dwindled, replaced by quiet admiration. Some whispered in soft tones, commenting on the child's natural sense of timing, the way he explored without fear of making mistakes. Others simply watched, eyes wide with amazement, letting the music wash over them. The atmosphere in the restaurant shifted subtly, as if everyone had collectively leaned into this moment of discovery. It was a shared experience, unspoken yet profound, a testament to the impact of unguarded joy and natural talent. The mother, too, was caught in the emotion of the moment. She felt a rush of protective pride. She had seen her son's curiosity many times before, but this was different. He was not merely playing. He was expressing something internal, a small piece of his heart and mind through the keys. She leaned in slightly, her soft whispers of encouragement punctuating the melody. "That's wonderful," she said almost under her breath. "Keep going. You're doing so well." Her words were gentle, nurturing, and her tone carried no pressure, only support. She understood that this moment was not about perfection. It was about discovery, joy, and expression. The billionaire rose slowly from his seat, choosing carefully when and how to approach. He didn't want to disrupt the natural flow of the boy's play. He wanted to make his presence known without imposing. He moved closer, keeping a respectful distance, and smiled warmly. The mother noticed him and straightened slightly, her instincts alert but not defensive. She sensed his intention was not intrusive, only observant, and that reassured her. "Your son is remarkable," the billionaire said softly, careful not to startle them. "I hope you don't mind me saying so. He has a natural gift, and it's rare to see someone of his age express themselves with such ease and joy. It's inspiring." The mother's cheeks warmed slightly, a mix of embarrassment and pride. She replied quietly, "Thank you. He enjoys music, but I never imagined anyone would notice. He's just playing for fun." The billionaire nodded, understanding perfectly. And that's what makes it beautiful. True talent often emerges from enjoyment, not expectation. It's clear he's exploring, learning, and discovering on his own terms. That's priceless. For a moment, silence hung between them. The boy glanced up, noticing the new presence and hearing the praise directed at him. He pressed a few keys experimentally, as if testing the air before returning fully to his exploration. The mother watched, feeling both protective and hopeful. She had always wanted her son to experience joy and discovery, but she had never imagined someone offering to recognize or nurture it in such a meaningful way. The billionaire continued, speaking with warmth and care. "If you ever consider giving him more guidance or opportunities to develop his talent, I would love to help. Not for show, not for recognition, simply to nurture and support. I've seen a lot of talent, but what I see here is rare. It deserves encouragement." The mother paused, unsure of how to respond. She had faced countless challenges in raising her son alone. The idea of someone offering genuine support for her child's growth was both unexpected and overwhelming. Yet she could sense his sincerity. After a moment of hesitation, she spoke softly. Thank you. I appreciate your offer. I never thought about it in that way. It's a lot to take in." The boy, sensing the weight of the conversation, looked between his mother and the billionaire. He pressed a few more keys softly, as though seeking permission or reassurance. The mother nodded gently, encouraging him to continue, and he returned to the piano with renewed focus. The billionaire observed, realizing the importance of allowing the child to remain in control of his own experience. True growth, he understood, came from curiosity and freedom, not pressure. As the boy played, his melody began to evolve. Sequences of notes became more cohesive, moving from simple experimentation to something resembling a structured tune. His tiny hands moved with increasing confidence, each note chosen deliberately. He hummed softly along, lost in the joy of creation. The mother's encouragement was quiet but consistent. offering reassurance and praise that reinforced his confidence. Each note, each pause carried emotion, and the billionaire recognized the subtle depth of expression in the boy's untrained yet intuitive performance. The restaurant seemed to exist in a bubble. The other diners watched quietly, captivated by the unfolding scene. Some whispered in awe, commenting on the boy's natural sense of timing and melody. Others simply smiled, letting the music wash over them without words. Even the staff moved with care, conscious of the delicate moment. The energy in the room was subtle yet powerful, a shared human experience born from the innocent curiosity of a child, the loving guidance of a parent, and the quiet attention of an observer who recognized potential. The boy continued to explore, pressing keys in longer sequences, experimenting with rhythm and tone. He occasionally paused, listening intently before resuming with more confidence. His small face was lit with concentration and joy, completely absorbed in his creative act. The mother, proud and slightly awed, whispered encouragement. "Yes, that's beautiful. Keep going. You're doing wonderfully." The billionaire, still nearby, remained quietly impressed. He recognized that this moment was rare and precious. The boy's talent was undeniable, but it was the combination of curiosity, joy, and parental support that made the experience extraordinary. He considered how to offer help in a way that respected the mother's instincts and preserved the boy's sense of freedom and discovery. He understood that genuine guidance must be subtle, supportive, and never forced. This was a chance to make a meaningful difference, and he wanted to approach it with care and integrity. As the melody progressed, the boy's playing became more expressive. His fingers danced across the keys with increasing fluidity, exploring patterns and sequences that sounded harmonious, despite his lack of formal training. The mother's pride was evident, yet she remained grounded, careful not to impose expectations. She allowed him to lead, offering gentle guidance only when necessary. The boy's expression showed a mixture of delight and concentration, completely absorbed in his musical exploration. The diners around them were captivated. Conversations had dwindled, replaced by quiet attention. Some watched with admiration, others with curiosity, and a few whispered softly, commenting on the beauty of the moment. The combination of the child's talent, the mother's support, and the quiet observation of someone who understood potential created a rare, almost magical atmosphere. It was a reminder of the power of human connection, of encouragement, and of the subtle ways in which a single act of attention can transform a moment into something extraordinary. The billionaire finally stepped back slightly, giving the mother and son space while maintaining a quiet presence nearby. He wanted to ensure that they felt comfortable and not pressured. The mother noticed this and felt reassured, focusing again on her son. The boy continued to explore the piano, pressing keys with curiosity and intent. His small melody had grown into something more coherent, a reflection of his innate understanding and joy. As the evening progressed, the boy's confidence solidified. He pressed the final notes of a small composition, a soft and clear ending that resonated through the restaurant. He looked up at his mother, eyes shining with pride and joy. She smiled warmly, whispering words of encouragement and love. The billionaire observed quietly, feeling a profound sense of satisfaction. He knew he had witnessed the beginning of something remarkable, a combination of talent, joy, and guidance that had the potential to grow into something extraordinary. The mother hugged her son gently, whispering praise. The boy giggled softly, enjoying the warmth and affection. The diners around them clapped quietly, moved by the innocence, talent, and emotion of the performance. The atmosphere was one of quiet celebration, a shared appreciation for the small but significant moment that had unfolded. The billionaire watched, knowing that this was more than just a child playing piano. It was a story of discovery, nurturing, and human connection, a story that was only just beginning. The evening had taken on a gentle, quiet magic in the restaurant. The boy's hands had just finished pressing the last notes of his small composition, and a soft silence hung in the air as everyone absorbed the beauty of what had unfolded. The mother held him gently, still filled with a mix of pride, love, and awe. She looked down at him, her voice trembling slightly as she whispered, "You were amazing. I've never seen you play like that before." The boy's eyes sparkled with joy, and he pressed his small hands against hers, as if sharing the moment of triumph between them. The billionaire, who had been observing quietly from nearby, took a small step closer. He had been careful all along not to intrude, but he knew this was the right moment to speak more seriously. He wanted to ensure the mother understood his intentions and could consider the possibility of supporting her son's growth without feeling pressured. He smiled warmly and spoke in a gentle tone. "Your son has an extraordinary gift. I know it may seem surprising, but I've seen many talented children and very few have this kind of natural ability. I would like to help him explore it further, if you would allow it. Lessons, guidance, opportunities, whatever he might need to grow and discover his talent safely." The mother's eyes widened, a mix of shock, disbelief, and careful hope. She had never considered that someone would offer this kind of support, especially in such a genuine, non-demanding way. Raising her son alone had been a constant struggle, and she had always worried about his future. Now an unexpected offer presented a possibility she had only dreamed about in quiet moments. She swallowed hard, trying to find the right words. I don't know what to say. This is so unexpected. I don't want him to lose his childhood or feel pressured. But I also see how rare this is. I want what's best for him." The billionaire nodded, understanding completely. "I promise you there is no pressure. He will not be forced to perform or meet expectations. My goal is simply to provide support and opportunities for him to grow naturally, at his own pace. It's about nurturing curiosity and joy, not creating a show." The mother's gaze fell to her son, who was now watching the interaction with wide eyes. He pressed a few keys softly, as if testing the waters, then looked back at his mother for reassurance. She smiled gently and nodded, giving him permission to explore further. He returned to the piano, this time with even more confidence, pressing sequences of notes that sounded playful and expressive. The billionaire observed quietly, recognizing the importance of allowing the child to continue discovering for himself. Any guidance or opportunity would need to respect his freedom and natural curiosity. As the boy played, a subtle transformation took place. His small fingers danced across the keys with increasing fluidity, and the melody began to take on a more intentional structure. Each note seemed to carry emotion, a reflection of the joy, curiosity, and excitement that filled him. The mother whispered encouragement, reinforcing his confidence, and the room seemed to glow with a quiet warmth. The diners, staff, and even the ambient energy of the restaurant responded to the moment. It was no longer just a child playing the piano. It was a story of discovery, love, and possibility unfolding in real time. The billionaire took a small step back, letting the mother and son share the space. He wanted to ensure his presence remained supportive but unobtrusive. He observed as the boy pressed more confident sequences of notes, occasionally humming softly to himself. The mother watched with quiet admiration, her heart full, recognizing that this moment was shaping both her son's confidence and the atmosphere around them. The melody, though simple, carried a depth that touched everyone in the room. It was a reminder that talent and joy can create connections that transcend age, background, and circumstance. Finally, the boy finished a small tune and looked up at his mother, eyes wide and expectant. She smiled warmly, her hand resting on his shoulder, whispering, "That was beautiful. I am so proud of you." The boy's cheeks flushed with happiness, and he pressed one last key softly, letting the note linger in the air. The diners nearby applauded quietly, moved by the sincerity and charm of the performance. Even the staff paused, caught up in the moment, feeling a shared appreciation for the child's innocence and talent. The billionaire approached once more, his tone calm and gentle. "I would like to arrange lessons for him if you agree," he said, making sure to convey patience and understanding. "We can start slowly with no expectations. He can learn at his own pace, explore, and enjoy music in a way that feels natural to him. This is about giving him the tools to grow, not pressuring him." The mother nodded slowly, emotion rising in her chest. She had never imagined that her son's curiosity could lead to such an opportunity. "And I think that would be wonderful. I want him to have every chance to explore what he loves, but I need to be sure it's safe and nurturing. He's still so young, and I don't want him to feel stressed or forced." The billionaire smiled warmly. "Absolutely. That is my promise. His happiness and natural growth are the most important things. We will take this one step at a time." With her consent, he offered to connect them with a skilled piano teacher, someone who would work with the boy gently and attentively, nurturing his natural curiosity and guiding him without overwhelming him. He also offered to provide access to small music events where the boy could listen, observe and learn without the pressure of performing publicly. The mother listened carefully, feeling a sense of relief and hope she had not experienced in years. This was more than financial support. It was a promise of guidance, understanding, and opportunity for her child's growth. Over the next few weeks, the boys' piano lessons began. Each session was filled with excitement, discovery, and joy. The teacher, understanding the importance of nurturing rather than pressuring, encouraged him to explore melodies freely while introducing basic techniques gently. The mother observed and participated when possible, reinforcing the supportive environment that had been present from the beginning. Slowly, the boy's confidence grew, and his understanding of rhythm and melody deepened. He no longer played only by instinct. He began experimenting with expression, timing, and tone. Meanwhile, the billionaire remained in touch, offering encouragement and subtle guidance without imposing any expectations. He provided opportunities for the boy to attend small recitals, listen to accomplished musicians, and observe the beauty of music in various forms. Each experience added to the boy's understanding, fueling his passion while respecting his natural curiosity and love for discovery. The mother felt reassured, seeing her son grow and flourish in an environment that combined freedom, encouragement, and gentle guidance. As months passed, the boy's skill and confidence blossomed. The melodies he created were no longer simple sequences. They carried emotion, intention, and a personal touch that captivated those who heard them. The mother's pride and joy deepened, seeing the transformation not only in her son's musical ability, but also in his confidence, curiosity, and resilience. The billionaire watched quietly, satisfied that his initial observation had led to meaningful growth without compromising the child's happiness or freedom. The restaurant, once just a backdrop for a quiet evening, became the starting point of a journey that transformed lives. A mother's encouragement, a child's curiosity, and a quiet observer's recognition had come together to create something extraordinary. The boy's music now had direction and purpose, but it remained playful, genuine, and joyful. He had learned that talent was something to explore, cherish, and grow, not something to perform under pressure. One afternoon, the mother watched her son practice with a soft smile. He played a melody he had discovered himself, humming along and occasionally looking up for reassurance. She felt a quiet sense of gratitude and awe. This journey had begun in a simple moment, in a quiet restaurant with a lift of a child to a piano and an observer who recognized something rare. Now it had grown into a pathway filled with possibility, learning, and joy. She realized that her son's talent, combined with support and encouragement, could lead to opportunities she had never imagined. The billionaire continued to check in, offering gentle guidance and sharing moments of encouragement. He never pressured the child, always respecting his pace and maintaining the emphasis on joy and discovery. The mother felt reassured and grateful, knowing that the environment created for her son was nurturing, supportive, and safe. She watched him grow day by day, learning, exploring, and finding happiness in the music he created. Over time, the boy began to perform for small audiences in a safe, controlled environment, sharing his music without pressure or expectation. Each performance was a chance to learn, a chance to explore, and a chance to express himself authentically. The mother observed quietly, proud and moved by the transformation. The boy's confidence, Joe,